Hi, and welcome to Little Woolly Things. My name is Wendelica Klein, and today is July 11th, 2017. This is episode number 2, and I'm very excited about the things I have to show you today. I don't have a lot of finished objects, but we'll get to that. We're going to start with a couple patterns that I was gifted through the knit along group that I'm in on Ravelry. And the first one came to me from Candy from the Pause for Stitches podcast. And this pattern is by Megan Williams. It's called Literally Over the Top. It's a pretty awesome pattern. And I picked this one out. Oh, I've got it in a sheet protector, so the reflection's pretty bad here by my window. I picked this one because it has such a unique construction. It is actually cast on from the front, knitted up the front, and then I think you cast off for the neckline, cast on again, and then work your way back down, and then seam it at the end. So I thought that was, you know, kind of different, kind of cool, and I'm really looking forward to getting started on that one. The knit along is all about making summer tops. So I already finished my first one that I was wearing in my last podcast, and I'm working on another one, but we'll get to that. I'm getting a little out of order, and I've only just begun. So then I also was gifted another pattern, and that was from, let me make sure I get this right, Lacey of the Knitted Cupcake podcast. She gifted me this through the Knit Along group, I guess because I talk a lot online, and so I had a pretty good chance of winning. So this one is designed by Roberta Platt, and this one is a swing vest and capri pants. And oh my goodness, I just kind of thought that I would maybe never get around to actually doing all the math to figure out how to make these pants, but I really want a pair. So I'm really looking forward to that one too. Okay. I also wanted to say that I'm not recording any tutorial videos this week, and that's not because I'm trying to be flaky. Had a little incident while we were stacking firewood. I was organizing some of the wood in the wheelbarrow, and my daughter was throwing the wood into the wheelbarrow. And I just assumed that since, you know, my hands were in there as I was reorganizing, restacking the wood, that she would pause for half a second and not throw the firewood onto my hand. And she probably figured that since she was busy throwing firewood into the wheelbarrow that I would, you know, move out of the way while she was throwing it. Anyway, we didn't communicate very well, and I managed to smash up my finger. And between having a smashed finger and having poison oak on my hands, I just thought that this was probably not the week to be recording tutorial videos. So I'm going to try not to show my hands off too much to you guys, but I'm certainly not going to have the camera zoomed in on my hands and my knitting needles right now. It's getting better though. Yeah, pretty soon I'll be able to do that again. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my coffee, because, you know, coffee is a huge part of my life. And I actually had one of my viewers ask specifically about how to make cold brew coffee. So I am drinking some cold brew coffee right now, and this is made with some beans from Uganda. I've discovered that the Uganda beans have a very robust flavor. They're not as smooth as the Mexican beans that I was drinking last week. It's a very pungent, very, very nice coffee flavor. So if you really, really like the flavor of coffee, I think those Uganda beans would be an excellent choice. But if you like to go with more mellow, you know, fruity kind of coffee, the Mexico beans are very, very good for that. So I am going to turn my camera a little bit and kind of zoom in on my table here next to me, and I will show you my process for making cold brew coffee. Okay, so here is my setup. I'm not in my kitchen, I'm upstairs in my barn, so I had to improvise just a little bit here. But I'm going to be starting with about 95 grams of ground coffee. This can be any coffee that you like. This particular batch is actually from Brazil, and Brazil has lately been my very favorite coffee. So I also have a half-gallon canning jar. This is, for those of you who live in the metric world, 1,500 milliliter container. And for those of us who don't live in the metric world, 95 grams of coffee is about a cup. So I'm going to put my canning funnel on top of the jar, and let's see, I'm just going to dump the coffee into my half-gallon jar, and then I just fill it up with cold water. See how hard that is? You want to make sure that all the grounds get moistened. And just fill that up. Put a lid on it. And then that goes into the refrigerator for about 24 hours. And then, after it is nicely steeped, very cold, I take another half-gallon jar and I put my pour-over filter on top of it, and I just gradually pour the coffee that has been steeped through this. It takes a long time. This coffee is very thick, and it's ground pretty finely, which tends to gum up the paper filter a little bit. So sometimes I actually will do just a part of my batch and then remove this and then put in a new filter just to keep it going, flowing a little bit better. So that's how I do that. And then when it comes to actually putting together my drink, I put ice cubes in my cup. I fill it about, up to here with coffee. If you like more of the froof and not so much of the coffee, you can do it about, 3/4 of the way full or so. And then I generally add a little bit of a Torani syrup to it. This one is creme de cacao and raspberry. And then just a little bit of half and half in there, and it's just perfect. So you can mix that all up to taste however you like it. So good. So now, as I am sipping my cold brew coffee and enjoying it immensely because it's very warm up here in the barn, I'm going to start talking about some of my works in progress. The first one that I have to show you is my granddaughter's cardigan. Last time I believe I had the body of this knitted together and I was about halfway through the first sleeve. So I have now sewn my shoulder seams together. It's going to be so cute. Here's the back, here's the front. I have done the neckline now, neck edging, and I've done my little button bands in the front. So once this gets blocked, it'll lay a little bit flatter, I hope. And I have both of the sleeves done. Yay! So you know what that means. It is time to sew this puppy together. Not my favorite part of the process. However, I will slug through it and get it done because I love my granddaughter. I hope she understands how much. Because I really don't like steaming. I would much rather pick up stitches and knit out. But, sometimes you do what you gotta do. It's going to be an awesome little cardigan. So last time I was talking about wanting to do some socks with a KirbyWirby heel. And I did a pair. Ta-da! I guess these qualify as finished objects. But these were supposed to be a gift for someone. And I wish I had some sock blockers to show you on, but I don't. These are a little bit on the small side. They fit me. I have teeny tiny little feet. but they're a little bit stretched, a little tight on me. They actually fit my 9-year-old daughter really, really well. So, they might become her Christmas present. I don't know for sure, but it's possible. So I did these, and I do like the way the afterthought heel worked. I like that she recommended not unraveling the 2 stitches on the ends so that you're actually working over the tops of them. And it gives you a very nice corner there where the heel turns. And there's not a great big huge gap in there. I didn't have to do any fudging or fixing on that. There's the other side right there. They do kind of, I don't know, they're a little pointy, but I guess they're easy to fold and put in your sock drawer. And I don't think it fits uncomfortably. These are actually pretty nice. So, since that pair came out really tight, I started another pair. And these ones I made a little bit longer. You can see I have not put the heel in yet. And I tried a little bit harder to make sure that I start the toe on the next one in exactly the same spot. I just bound this off at like 11 o'clock last night. So this is, I cast on 16 stitches for the toe, and I increased to, well, 16 on either side, so I use a figure 8 cast on. So 16 and 16 is 32, right? Yeah. So you start with 32 stitches, 16 on each needle, and then increase to 60 stitches. And then I just knitted it, knit, till I got as long as I wanted, and then I did a 1x1 rib with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. So I think that's gonna make a nice little cuff there. It'll be a nice short sock for the person I am gifting these to eventually. Her birthday is coming up soon, so I should be able to get these done with plenty of time though. Oh, and I am using a size 1, I believe this is a size 1 needle, and it's Addy Turbos. I really like these. They're nice and slick, and the joins never ever grab my yarn. That's very important. Okay, and my next work in progress that I wanted to show you actually comes from the Warm Days Cool Knits book by Karina Ferguson, and you know, I've gotten this far on it. This is in, I think these are also size 1 needles. Anyway, I've just barely gotten started on it, and I am using yarn that it's recycled. I picked up a sweater that I found at a thrift store, and it was just the most boring sweater design. Blah, it didn't even look nice, but as I was looking at this sweater, I loved the yarn, and I just thought that yarn needs to become something spectacular because this sweater is not. So I unraveled it, wound it all up. I didn't even steam block this or anything, so it's still bumpy and wiggly. I don't know what that's going to do to my gauge, but you know, this is the first time I've unraveled and tried to recycle a sweater. The interesting thing about this is that it has this metallic, I don't know if you could see that. Well, the camera is not going to focus on the yarn very well. It has a gold metallic thread, and it's not actually wound or plied in with the yarn. It's just carried alongside the yarn. And when I unraveled the sweater, I decided to just wrap it like that so that I could use it with the gold filament, kind of the way it was originally. And that sounded a whole lot easier than trying to wrap the filament separate of the yarn. So it's kind of a challenge to work with because I think the filament actually has stretched a little bit more than the yarn in its previous life. And so, yeah, I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of a loop of the filament hanging down. So that is an issue with this yarn, but, you know, I'm just going to keep working with it and making it up as I go. And we shall see how that turns out. So next time I'll have more of this to show you, I'm sure. I am also still working on the black and gray shawl that I showed you last time, but I'm waiting on yarn for that to get it finished. So I haven't done much work on it. Just a little bit. I decided what kind of an edging I want to do, and I was actually going to bring my little swatch that I had knitted out here to show you, but I left it in the house, so I won't be showing that to you, unfortunately. But next time I'll show you what I'm going to do for the edging. I think it's going to look really cool. I keep looking at Stephen West's patterns and just adoring his designs because he's doing all the things that I have running through my head, and I'm like, ah, he already did that, but I wanted to do that, but oh well, we can both do it, right? Sure. Anyway, mine is a little bit different style than his anyway, but it's not exactly the same as his. But we do have some similar thought patterns, maybe, I don't know how to say that. We do some similar things in our designs, so it's cool. At least I know I'm on trend, right? Okay. So I already showed you my KirbyWirby Afterthought heel socks. That is my only finished object for the last 2 weeks, because, you know, life is busy and it's summertime, and yesterday we took the kids to the beach and we had a great time, but I didn't get a whole lot of knitting done. Yeah, that doesn't make an excuse for the whole 2 weeks. I have been knitting. I finished a pair of socks and I did another sock for the second pair, and like I said, I have been working on the black and gray shawl, and I did start my second summer top, although I actually had worked, like, I had done about 5 hours worth of work on this, and realized that it was coming out just huge. My gauge was way off, so I ripped it all out and started over again. That's why I only have this much to show on this project. Okay, enough of the excuses. I am actually going to do a giveaway, and that is so exciting. I love giving away stuff. I did a giveaway on my blog one time, and it was just so much fun. I got to meet some people, and it's cool to send some really cool stuff to somebody else and then hear them get excited about it and go, oh my gosh, I won, it's great. I love winning things. And so I went through my yarn stash and I found this skein of a hand-painted yarn, and it's got this beautiful, like a marine blue and kind of a teal and a green and this buttercup yellow. And it's just some really neat colors in there. And this is by Knit Fit Knitting. It is a squishy 100% superwash merino, DK weight, 240 yards, and this is the Parker colorway. So this is what I'm giving away to one lucky winner. And also, along with this beautiful skein of hand-painted yarn, I am going to be giving away a bag of hand-roasted coffee beans. You hear them in there? Now, I have ordered labels to go on my coffee bean bags. They're not here yet, but before I podcast next, I should have my labels. So when I am drawing the name to give away, I will have the beautiful label on the bag. Just imagine, beautiful label here, and it will say Bravewood Beanery across the top, because that's the name of our place. Our kids named our piece of property Bravewood, and so Coffee Bean Company is going to be also named Bravewood. So I can't wait to show you what my lovely labels are going to look like. I can't smell it through the bag because it's zipped shut, but anyway, this will be a lovely bag of Brazilian coffee beans. My favorite. Oh, they're so good. I have not had a single person try my Brazil coffee beans and not like them. So yeah, this is exciting. So, in order to win the wonderful, beautiful skein of yarn and the very aromatic and smooth and lovely Brazilian coffee beans, I just need you to leave a comment at the bottom under here of the podcast, right here on YouTube. If you would like an extra entry, you can also comment on my Instagram post when I announce the podcast. Yes, that will work. I think that will work. So, this is a new thing for me, so hopefully it will go smoothly and I won't make myself look silly in the process. But even if I do, you know, silliness happens. So, this is exciting. I can't wait to see who wins my coffee and my yarn. So, let's see. Besides yarny things, I was going to talk a little bit about some other stuff that's going on in our lives. Oh, there's my dog barking. Thank you, Joni. So my parents-in-law live just across the river from us, and they have on their property an old pioneer schoolhouse. And I will put some pictures of the old Kentucky schoolhouse in here. It's a neat building, and it is actually registered as a historic building, I believe. But the old schoolhouse has been starting to slip down the hill. So, Dad decided that it was worth it to preserve the building, and he had someone come out and start doing some foundation work. So, we are putting a brand new foundation under the old schoolhouse to keep it from falling apart. And yeah, I'll make sure that I have some pictures for you to look at, and maybe we can show some more progress after that's all done. Right now, they just started the work yesterday, so that's a cool thing that's going on. And the barn doesn't look any different than it did last time, but my husband is talking about taking apart some pallets and using pallet wood on the walls here, right behind me. At least part way up, if not the full height of the walls. So that will look really cool. And I'm really kind of excited to have that going on. And I think that is all that I have to talk with you about today. I almost forgot to mention that I am just about finished writing out the pattern for the summer top that I made for the knit along, and I'm going to call it the All Aflutter top. So I hope y'all like that name. Anyway, I am working out the sizing right now. I think it's going to be 3 sizes, possibly 4, at least 3. But I am just about ready to start lining up some test knitters. So if you're interested in test knitting this pattern for me, I would really like to have 2 people work on each size. So if you can contact me and let me know if you would like to do a small size, medium size, large size, extra large, then I will email you back and send you a copy of the pattern as soon as it's ready. And I will work out some of the details of that very soon. So, yeah, I can't wait to hear from you about that. I think that's it. If you would like, you could certainly subscribe to my blog, and no, you could certainly subscribe to the podcast here. Hit the little subscribe button down below, and then YouTube will notify you when I post the next podcast and every other podcast thereafter. You can also follow me on my blog, which is littlewoollythings.com. I have an Etsy shop, Little Woolly Things, and you can follow me on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Twitter, on Facebook. They're all little woolly things, except for Instagram, because for some reason it won't let me set up my business page. I don't understand why. Anyway, on Instagram I am Wendelica Klein. So, all that said, thank you for watching my podcast, and I will see you next time. Happy knitting!